Coach Rowland, is it tough to keep guys focused as you get near the holidays, or is there anything different you have to do, or is it just work?
Yeah, I don't think that deeply about it. We have practice today. We got to come in and try to do everything we can to maximize the opportunity to improve and get better and work. That was the message yesterday, and the guys did a nice job of it yesterday. I expect the same today.
You've been undefeated before last year, I think 7-0 going into the Xavier game. But along the same lines, what do you say to them in practice to keep them grounded and not looking at 5-0 and thinking, wow, this is the greatest thing ever?
Same thing that we say every day. I know this isn't fun stuff for, media out there or people that want to listen, but it's the truth. Let's control what we can control, which is what we can do today. So my concern is today, what can we control? We can control the way we come in and practice, the way we prepare for our game tomorrow night, and that's the only thing I'm thinking about. So if you guys have questions about stuff beyond Alabama State today, I'll save you some time. I'm not mad, I'll just save you some time, because that's the only thing that matters to me.
First look at Alabama State, what can you tell us about them?
That they're better than their name, and that's something we talked about yesterday with the team after practice. Was, you may see the name Alabama State and think, oh, they're not very good. They just won 2 of their last 3 Division I games on the road or in a neutral environment. That they're a good basketball team. They have really good players. They're really well organized and coached, and we better be ready to play basketball. And I don't have this team hasn't given me a reason to be concerned about that. But again, we have to have a good practice today.
Jizzle has 10 straight games double figures. His assist numbers are starting to go up. What does it say about him that despite the increased pressure of that lead guard position, he's just continuing to work and produce like you expect him to?
Yeah, I think with Jizzle, it's just about the work. It's been so consistent. When we recruited him, we saw talent, we saw characteristics, so we're not surprised. That's what you're seeing, and what you'll continue to see is what our vision has always been, and our belief. But what brings that to life is his everyday work and approach, and it's been consistent since he got here, and it's still consistent. He's as much of an everyday guy to this point in his career as I've ever been around. And from my experience in college basketball, those guys just keep getting better and better, and that's my expectation for Jizzle.
Alabama State's averaging roughly over 80, and they're getting up and down quite a bit. Is it fair to say you're going to see a decent amount of three-point shots? It looks like they have some decent guards.
They have a lot of shooting, really, really good guard play. Transition defense will be a big key. Like you said, they're playing fast. They can put runs on you in a hurry because of how many guys they have that can shoot it and how many guys can make plays off the bounce. They shoot it in their front court. I mean, there's a ton of respect right here for everybody on our schedule, and Alabama State is a team that's going to compete to win their league. A team that you guys could see in your brackets in the NCAA tournament. I think they have a very good chance to do that with what I've watched on tape the last 48 hours. So, yeah, I can tell you this, as a staff, we're not taking them lightly at all. I would expect our team to be the same way.
You mentioned last week, Wes, that Dan was going to be maybe doing some light stuff on the court this week. Do you just have any update on his status heading into as things progress, the week by week kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah, Dan shot for the first time. He's been doing shooting form and things of that nature, but he had his first shooting workout Sunday. Followed it up with another one yesterday, and I got video from our trainer a couple hours ago of him running on we have like a zero grab. I don't know what all the technology. We got some treadmill. I mean, it's pretty neat actually. Got a treadmill that goes around your waist, and I don't know. You guys Google it. I don't know, but he was running there. So, and he was on the floor this morning working out with our assistant coaches. So, yeah, he's progressing on the floor, which has been good.
Do you feel like there was a mini depth test that you guys passed with Arrington getting into foul trouble, not being able to be out there very much on Saturday, but you guys still weathered the storm and won by 20?
Yeah, I think depth is got to be a strength of this team if we're going to be the kind of team we hope to be. There's been some very good examples of us utilizing that depth here in the first couple weeks of our season, whether that's with Dan and Day being out in games, sliding guys to different spots, and then obviously AP being in foul trouble. It felt like the entire game, right? I mean, he only played 7.5 or 8 minutes, and that wasn't because shoot. I played him with 2 because I trust guys. I believe as a coach, I've just always kind of believed in, if a guy's got 2 fouls, he's never going to learn how to play with 2 fouls if you don't give him an opportunity. So trust him and let him play. And so he got that third right away. He looked at me like, "Why am I coming out so fast?" I said, "You had 3." Then he got mad at himself, which is pretty funny. But he's a fun kid to coach. But yeah, so the ability to slide and play. We played like a true small ball lineup. You have 5 perimeter players on the court, but the defensive versatility of some of those guys gives you the ability to do that in some stretches, and that was a good stretch for us in the Georgia Tech game.
Day-Day's been back for 2 games, but the person that seemed to that's benefited the most has been Connor Hickman. Just talk about how Day-Day coming back has allowed Connor to kind of be in his natural spot.
Yeah, Day being back, I disagree, guys. I think the person that benefits the most is Wes Miller. I mean, I just, it's a lot more fun to coach with him. I like our team a lot better with Day. And that little dude right there, man, he embodies a lot of the things that I want us to be about every day. So having him on the court's a huge boost for all of us. I mean that. I'm being a little funny, but it's a boost. It's made everybody better. Makes me look like I'm a better coach. And all of our players are better for Day being out there. But I think Jizzle and Connor have taken such a load on early in the year with Day and Dan being out that getting just Day back is helped everybody, and certainly helped those guys in the backcourt.
Whether it be in practice or in games, do you like what you're seeing when you have Day and Jizzle out there at the same time?
We did in the preseason. We haven't had a lot of opportunity to work at that in practice because Day, I mean, he's barely been practicing, right? But they are getting some reps in practice when they have opportunities. It's not a lot. And then we had segments in the Georgia Tech game. It's the first time since Day's been held out that we've gotten like extended minutes, even in considering practice, going back to the practice time of those 2 together. But they did that last year in the second half of league play. And I don't think that's for either one of them a difficult adjustment, but yeah, I expect those 2 to be able to play together all year.
About with Alabama State, you talked about how they're shooting, they can get up and down the floor. How does that prepare you for teams that you're going to see in league play?
Yeah, I feel like everything you go through in your non-conference is something that can prepare you for what you're going to go through in league play. I mean, everything, right? I haven't done in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I haven't been able to do deep dives on our conference opponents and styles of play. I certainly do that in the off season, and our assistants that have different scouts are paying attention to those guys. But personally, I'm just try to lock in as a head coach to the next game. So to say, hey, that Alabama State's going to help us prepare for this team, I'm probably not the best guy to ask that question to today. But what I do know is that everything we go through in games right now, and I hope we don't have any bad stuff, right? But even the bad stuff, it's all opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow. opportunity to prepare for what's ahead of us, and that this game will be no different.
Thanksgiving week's usually a time for all the national MTVs and Thanksgiving tournaments. Do you have a preference on playing a local MTV versus being involved in like a Maui or one of these other big weekly tournaments?
Yeah, guys, it's a good question. I'm like the rest of you guys. I mean, 2 years ago we were in Maui, and that's so neat, and to be in that field, and I'd love to be there with this team right now. That type of thing. I mean, I'm a competitor. Our players are competitors. I think it's not that we don't want to be in those events, and there's a bunch of great events, and we're trying to figure that out for next year. Right now, actually, we've been talking to a lot of the people that run those types. I'm not going to give you the specific names, but those types of those premier events, and I would be surprised if we're in one next year. The reason we haven't been the last 2 years is not really preference as much as we've just been going through a ton of transition here for a long time, guys. I mean, it's been transition on top of transition on top of transition. So whether that's inheriting old contracts, whether that's moving into a new conference, whether it's the conference transitioning into how we do league play. I mean, guys, is it 20 games? Is it 18 games? Do you play games before Christmas? Is it a challenge? Is there an SEC challenge? Is there a Big 12 challenge? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's been in limbo because the Big 12's been changing as a league, right? And so that's stuff is coming out, and those are conversations that have been happening since we joined the league. We've inherited contracts. We now are, Big 12, Big East. So there's a lot. There's a lot of reasons that we've had to do some things in scheduling the last 2 years that were completely out of our control. Things are now starting to settle out, and we'll have a little more hand in our own schedule. And so I think things could look a little different the next couple of years.
Over these first 5 games, when the team has been able to build a lead, you haven't really seen that run where, maybe it gets up to 14 and the opponent cuts it back to 6 and gives them some momentum. Is that a sign of like the veteran presence of this team so far, that we haven't seen that kind of fall asleep at the wheel for a couple minutes when it feels like things get comfortable? They've been able to keep their foot on the gas?
We talk about how we respond a lot. How we respond to things is a big, massive piece of what we do here every day and what we try to pride ourselves on. And so that's what we try to work on in practice. It's what we try to demand in games. And I think, our guys embrace that. It doesn't mean we're always going to do it correctly, right? We'll disappoint you at some point, but no, I mean, we care a lot about how we respond and how quickly we respond to things, good or bad.
Tyler Betsy, you mentioned he's made some freshman mistakes, but did you expect him to come in and shoot the ball that well when you recruited him? I mean, I think 9 of 16 full threes.
Yes. I think Tyler Betsy's terrific, and it's funny. I mean, you can watch Tyler. I told people this when we recruited him. I mean, you can watch Tyler Betsy run up and down the court, anybody, and you can go, man, that dude's pretty special. Like it's pretty easy to see that. Again, my mom, she likes Tyler Betsy. I mean, she knows a little more basketball than I give her credit for. But I mean,
did she text you after the Georgia Tech game?
Oh yeah, she loves Tyler. She likes anybody can shoot. But like, I mean it. I mean, you guys can watch Tyler Betsy, and I know that, you know that, everybody in the world knows that. So there's a lot of people that are Tyler Betsy fans out there. I'm his biggest fan. Does it surprise me that he's done some nice things? Not at all. And what I'd say that's different between me and you guys is he ain't even shown you guys anything yet. He's just still scratching the surface. His ceiling is so freaking high. He's got a lot more in there right now that nobody's seen, and I'm his biggest fan. So no, there's no surprises there.
Getting back to Betsy, you mentioned he still has another level. What are some of the things that you're working on with him to get him to that next step?
Yeah, I think The biggest thing with Tyler when he got here was trying to get him up to speed defensively, and that's going to be the case with any freshman player. And I'll tell you what, just go back and look at the tape. It's pretty damn remarkable how he's defended. That would be the one that I'm the most proud of. I mean, shoot, he could shoot it before I ever called him. I mean, he's always been able to shoot the ball, but I mean, look at how hard he's playing. He's defending. He's getting better. Like, his defensive grades are consistently improving each outside competition that we've had. This goes back to our two competitions before regular games started. He's still not there yet. Like, there's still some errors, but there's just like there's less errors every time he takes the floor. It's because he works like crazy at it. So, you know, his defensive principles, his impact defensively, that was attacked from day one. The motor that he plays with, which I'm proud of because he's playing with the big-time motor. His rebounding, which he's starting to make an impact. I mean, look at him on the boards. What, he had 5 in the Georgia Tech game or something like that? Am I right about that? I mean, look at the impact on the board. And then just making sure that he's aggressive and confident offensively because he's so talented there, and kind of learning how to assimilate amongst other older college players. But that's been the process with him. And again, it's like any process. It won't be completely linear. I mean, it's going to be up and down. But I think every time we take a step back after a big snapshot of time, you're going to see that Tyler Betsy's taking a big jump and another big jump. And a lot of that's because of how he approaches it every day. He's been very good to date.
You have a lot of former UC players, a lot of family members of the coaching staff and the roster in Atlanta. What did that mean to you to be able to do that in front of them, and what were those kind of conversations like, just being able to have all those people on a road game?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say, man, I'm like getting on the elevator from pregame meal on Saturday morning to go up to my room, get packed up, get dressed for the game. And I get on the elevator, and there's a young couple, in decked out in UC gear. And I went, "You guys here for the game?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh yeah, we flew in for the game." "You can't, good luck, coach," that type of thing. And I went, "This is awesome," and then, like, we were at Northern Kentucky the other night, and I was so glad. 2 years ago, there wasn't quite that much, hardly any red in there 2 years ago now. And then we went over there a week and a half ago, and that place was red. I mean, you could, there was patches of it everywhere, and I loved it. I think I said something about it after the game. And then you walk into Georgia Tech's arena, and we had a great fan base. Like, people traveled to come watch us play on the road. I think that's pretty dang cool. I think people that are looking at our program notice that. I think that's really cool. Our players, I think Day said it in the huddle. Fans want to know, do you matter? Heck yeah, you matter. So keep doing what you're doing because it's cool. I mean, Day said it before the opening tip. He said, "Dang, coach, I feel like we got more people in here than they do." And so that's really cool. And so I really, really genuinely appreciate the Bearcats that are showing up every night, trying to make this the premier program in college basketball, traveling. And the more and more we get of that, it's like makes us a better team. So keep doing it. And then you mentioned the former players. Like, I was looking for Nick Van Exel when I walked out. I couldn't spot him. I actually asked Coach Dollar. I said, "Where's Nick?" Because I heard Terry Nelson had told me he'd be there. And, but yeah, we had parents of former players. Landers Nolly's mom was sitting behind the bench, which was cool. Nick Van Exel, I'll leave somebody out if I keep going, but we had a ton of people. And, again, we don't talk about family type stuff that much out loud. We just try to be about it. But to see some of that kind of stuff going on is something you're proud of as a coach, and we got to keep building on it.
One more, Ryan?
Coach, when you look at that fan support and how involved former players and alums are, how does that help with selling your vision for this program when you're out recruiting?
It's extremely important. I mean, I can tell you that prospects are looking at that. They're looking. They're seeing who has an engaged fan base. They want to play in big time environments. They want to play where it matters, and we have that here. Let's keep showing people that.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.